Welcome to NuttieBuddie Sports. Previewing the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, let's focus on we'll start out with the Vikings. We'll talk about the last two teams in this division. So let's get into the Minnesota Vikings. And we're going to start out with the big question. So I'll tell you what I have for the big question for the Minnesota Vikings is basically what is the difference between Zimmer to O'Connell going to be enough to help this team get over the hump? And that means into the playoffs, basically, because I think that Zimmer's voice grew stale in the locker room. Yeah. He was there for like 8 or 9 years. Yeah. And then the other thing that I like about this O'Connell guy is he worked with Kirk Cousins in the past. So a team is going to have a hard time winning games when they can tell their coach doesn't believe in the quarterback. And Zimmer was pretty open about wanting to keep Bridgewater over getting Kirk Cousins. So maybe just the fact that change happened, is that coaching change enough to help the Vikings to get over hump? So that's my big question for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. He's another Sean McVay coach, just like all the other ones. He's pretty young, so he's probably going to be a lot different than Zimmer, who was kind of an old school. He was a hard personality, not cuddly at all. So I would agree. A change, a complete 180 opposite is probably a good thing for them, but they didn't really. It's pretty much, can he inspire them with a roster that's not too different from what they've had in the last several years?
Yeah, correct. New blood, especially in the offense. Him being the offensive coordinator that he was, the offensive minded coach. Okay, let's talk about the next question. Favorite off-season move for the Minnesota Vikings? For me, I have Zaire Smith. Adding him next to Hunter, good pass rushing duel. I think he had like 13 sacks last year. Smith did. I had it up. I took it down.
No, that was 2 years ago. Last year, Zadarius went out after the first game with he had back surgery. So he missed pretty much the entire season. He came back for the playoff game, maybe like a game or two before the playoffs. But yeah, he was pretty much a non-factor last season, which, the cynical side of me says that he wanted a new contract and he wasn't getting it from the Packers. So he said, all right, screw you guys. I'm just going to get surgery and then we'll see how much you miss me, which turned out not to be as bad of a loss as maybe he was expecting.
Correct. Yeah.
Because to me, it's kind of like take care of your back during the off season instead of on September, 3 weeks into September or whatever it was that he had. But I mean, yeah, he's definitely a very good player. So yeah, no disrespect that way.
Yeah, you're right. He had 2 years ago 12 sacks. 3 years ago he had 13, 8 the year before that. So but yeah, I do like that they got him, took him away from a division rival, and will be able to create more pressure, obviously, when you have two good pass rusher. And then I just think moving on from Zimmer is another really good offseason move for the Vikings, which we talked about. Did you have any other thoughts on the Vikings offseason?
No, they pretty much their main thing. Yeah, as far as like shuffling up the roster, they didn't do a lot. So I think kind of by default, he's the best move. The main thing was just dumping their coach and dumping their general manager.
Yeah, correct. Okay, let's go on to our next topic here. Least favorite offseason move for the Minnesota Vikings. And what I had was, like you said, they didn't make a lot of moves this offseason, losing or gaining players. So really the draft. In specific, trading the Detroit Lions, the 12th pick to get Jamison Williams, and then trading the Packers, I think the 34th pick or something like that, to get Christian Watson. It's not that trading those picks are necessarily bad, but trading them to division rivals that can get players that might haunt you for 10 years. I think that's the scary part, 10 to 12 years. So that to me was a bad move by the Vikings.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I just go by, I don't know. I can't speak specifically to what Vikings fans wanted out of their draft. I just know I do 100% remember around draft time that a lot of Vikings fans were not happy at all with who they drafted. So their new general manager came in and his first draft got underperforming grades from the fan base. So, you know, you'd have to ask a Vikings fan specifically what they did not like. I just know that the majority did not like it.
Well, does the new GM know not to trade with division rivals? Like, shouldn't he know that? You would think.
Yeah.
Not good on them. And again, it could end up haunting them for next couple of years. So 10, 12 years. Okay, let's go to our next topic. What will make the Vikings season a success or failure? Personally, I have playoffs. They got to make the playoffs this year. It's Kirk Cousins, third year, fourth year as a Viking. I think they only made the playoff one time with him. You make the coaching change. Your offense should be electric with everybody that they have on that team. The defense is not bad if you go and look at their roster. I don't see why they couldn't make the playoffs. So it's playoffs or bust for me with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I agree. And they should be, there's no reason they shouldn't be. The NFC is very top heavy, in my opinion. I'm sure that's pretty much general consensus, but there's no reason the Vikings shouldn't at least contend for a 7 seed with a 9-8 record. You know, maybe they can steal a win and get to 10-7. That should be good enough to sneak in on a 6 or a 7 seed because there's a nice class of teams. There's like 4 teams that should be right in that thing. So as long as they stay, I guess my thing would be, do they stay healthy? Because Dalvin Cook is good every year, or never. Yeah, he's always good to miss a handful of games. So that would be the thing, is injuries as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they can't afford to lose a whole lot. Yeah, and I would say I personally wouldn't be surprised. I really like the coaching change they made personally, and so I wouldn't be 100% surprised if they can even compete for the North Division. And we'll talk about why when we focus a little bit more on the Packers. But okay, any other additional questions you want to bring up for the Vikings?
Okay. I don't think so.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's predict the over/under. The online source that I use, they had it at 9 wins. So, Chris, maybe I'll just ask you, let you start with it. Are you predicting over or under 9 wins for the Minnesota Vikings, which is hilarious because you said 9-8 right before we said this. So that's sort of where you're at. But what would you take if you had to take?
I would have to go push. I would have to go push, and tentatively I say 9-8.
Okay, you know, you're the first guy on any of the podcasts I've done that pushed.
Yeah. Hey, I call it like I see it.
Okay, I'm gonna go over. I think 9-8 is probably close. It's gonna be close, but I'm gonna go 9. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over if they're gonna finish either under or over that. I'm gonna say over. I have maybe a little bit more faith in this team than maybe you do, but I also don't think the division's as strong. You know, like I don't see the Bears beating the Vikings. You know, their roster is not that great, and
I see them splitting.
Okay.
That's generally how it turns out, in my opinion. I'll give you a prediction though. Is I do think the Vikings win week 1 by like a nice 10 to 13 points.
Who they play week 1?
The Packers at home.
Yeah,
they play the Packers at Minnesota. So maybe that's the pessimist Packers fan in me, but I see the Vikings winning that game and take whatever the line is, go over.
Okay. Well, speaking of which, are you ready to talk about the Packers? Thanks so much for watching this clip of NuttieBuddie Sports. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you'd like to listen to the rest of the podcast, click on one of the links down below. And if you want to give us your thoughts on any team in any division? Let us know in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Thanks so much for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will talk to you guys soon.